She was hopping and saying, "I can't forgive him." I can't forgive him for that either. There must be a program behind it. She thought that they could only meet if she committed suicide. She came back to reality. The physical plane started to heal rapidly. She didn't need to cut off her leg.
What is Reality Way? The path of life, first formalized and formulated by Dr. Gabriel through the practices and experiences of which man reaches the state of grace, the realization, the reality referred to by many older spiritual traditions. The system of reality transcends the scientific, philosophical, religious, or spiritual systems we know today by acknowledging and embracing them all. It is based on the Reality Codex, first published in Hungary in 2023, which is a simple, practical guide to the process of realization, where man is able to see himself, the external world, and the purpose of life on earth in reality. According to the followers of reality, it can give real answers to the most difficult questions of life on earth, such as, who are we? Where are we going? What is our purpose? Is there a God? And if so, where?
How can I forgive?
A man who was close to me caused a car accident that I suffered a lot, and I can't forgive him for that. Then I know it was an accident and how to deal with it. So I can forgive this man. And in the same way, I can't forgive here.
The person who has died or who drove the car?
But the car came. To this day, I can't forgive the man who drove our car, and I'm sick of it. That's what I was going to ask you. How can I forgive?
Sure, I understand.
Thank you. You've really helped so far.
That's how beautiful Hungarian is, or the Hungarian language, the way you speak. Congratulations.
Thank you.
The Hungarian-Polish friendship is legendary. Let me tell you a story, okay? Because this story was so defining in my life. I always feel that the Hungarians have always told stories, and I think the Poles have always told stories, and this telling of stories is always the most direct way of giving some kind of help or guidance. When I was younger, I was in Szolnok for about 20 years. I had quite serious illnesses, just when I met Maria Sapis, this enlightened master with a beautiful soul. Well, with these periods in Budapest, I really took a toll on my health. Remember, the doctors were warning me that I had 4 years to live. Then I went to the Buddhists, and there I studied natural medicine and the basics of Buddhism, meditation, etc. I was very interested in these holistic. Holistic means that it works on 3 planes: the physical, the astral, the mental, all at the same time. I liked it a lot. I was very immersed in it. And a lot of these degrees and stuff, so whatever. And I started to do that. I started to clean myself up, and people started to come to me because the outside world saw the changes I was going through. I was getting younger. My face now looks much younger than it did 20 years ago. Just after that, someone brought a photo of me. Anyway, and people started coming to see me. And there was a very nice prosecutor in Zolnok whose grandmother was very ill. And as I mentioned, maybe those of you who have been with me for a while know the story, but she was very influential. They brought the old lady. She was about 90 years old, and she had these big ulcers on her legs. Huge ulcers. What does God do? I have a good friend Attila, who is a vascular surgeon in Zolnok, and it was about a month or a month and a half before the amputation, because the aunt's leg was so ulcerated. And then they obviously didn't want her to lose it. She was such a hard-working aunt. A peasant woman. She worked. She was so cheerful. But she was on the second floor, where my center is now. She couldn't come there. They took her there. And then I invented all sorts of treatments. I treated with honey, with energy. I invented all sorts of miracles. But holistics treats you physically as one treatment. One bandage, one honey, one cleansing, one chamomile, and so on. On an astral level, and on a mental level, and on an astral level, I was looking for what the problem was in the ant, just to see how it worked. It was a very defining experience. I knew that the physical plane was a causal plane. There has to be something above emotion that causes problems. Aunt Data was quiet, gentle, and very modest. He shines me over. He said he didn't want to lose his leg. And then I think it was the third or fourth time we talked. We were alone. We had one of those massages, my bed, and then she would put his leg up. I was asking questions. I had the technique. Family, child, grandchild, and all of a sudden the tears started to flow. She started to cry. Then I felt we were done. And then I say, go ahead. And then she says he's gone. I said, when did this start? He said 2 years ago. And then obviously I asked around there, what could have happened between 2 or 3 or 4 years ago? Tell me about the child. The husband. She started crying and told me that her husband had committed suicide. And we'll soon find out whether we'll join in. The story. Cried, and then jumped and said, I can't forgive him. That was the emotional problem, because if I can't forgive someone, what do? I keep this feeling and I'm stuck in the past. So the past has a history that's long gone. The long gone is gone. The moment it's gone as it's gone. But I keep the image of it in my mind. I sort of insist on it. It steals energy from me, and it starts destroying my pancreas, my lungs. So it starts causing serious problems. Then I knew we were done. But also this, that I can't forgive him. There must be an agenda behind it, a train of thought behind it. And then we went on. It's a thought process of why she could not forgive. We went on. I asked her about details. I asked her why she couldn't forgive him. She was old. She had cancer, she told me, and she was in pain and wanted to go. And then I said, but you can't understand that, or is it so difficult that he didn't want to cause his family to suffer? She said, that's not the problem. The problem is that they are both Catholic Christians. And according to Catholic, so they can't meet. So they cannot meet in purgatory. So she couldn't forgive not because he died, but the way he did. It is a program. The dogma in the Christian Catholic system is that suicides are put there and cannot meet the one who dies a natural death. And the aunt was sick of it. He had been a Catholic Christian for 80 years. And then we started to talk about it, and it took him a few times again to believe me by trust that it was wrong. And they will meet. She thought that they could only meet if she committed suicide. The fact that the program was giving me these completely confused, illusory thoughts. I was a complete thing, of course, and he couldn't help it. And then once understood that and said, "Are we really going to meet?" "Yes," I say. "Certainly. If not there, then here." But the aunt accepted it, started crying again, hugged me, and so she could forgive me for understanding something from up here that she couldn't see from here, and said thank you. So I have already forgiven him. I don't know if we understand the process. As you forgive on top, it's gone. So understood the reality. Gone is this pain, this clinging to the past, this I can't forgive. She came back to reality. The physical plane began to heal rapidly. She didn't need to cut off her leg. It took him about a month and a half, exactly a month and a half for these ulcers to produce these little pink new skin on his legs. He was 90 years old. And yet, it happened. In English, the same is true here. Is it understood how it works? We create an information, purgatory, I cannot forgive, physical symptom. We go back, we start rewinding the film, we bring it back to reality. No purgatory. We meet. And in the process we realize that the person who was the so-called driver is not to blame. We also find out through reality that there is no sin, but experiences, actions, thoughts, and their reflections, and that is how we experience and realize our lives. Once we understand that there is no death, and there are no accidents, but everything works in a system, in an amazing wisdom of reality, and we don't consider that death is bad, because when I say death is bad, I feel sorry for myself that I lost that person. But if I know that I didn't lose that man because I can't lose him, because he didn't die, he just laid his body down. But now I can sit here and I can understand that. I can grow from that. So when we put together the fact that you're sitting here now, it's partly a small part, a consequence of the fact that this accident happened. The fact that we're sitting here together, or we've sat somewhere else, in Oradea, we've been here, we've been in Karlovy, Derry, we've been here every week, that we believed together now is 100% a consequence of my life, my thoughts, all my lives, my thoughts, my actions. If one of them were missing, I wouldn't be sitting here. It's the same with you, that we are all sitting here because of the aggregation of all the currents and all the laws of life, so to speak. If you had missed that event in your life, you wouldn't be sitting here. Obviously not because I'm here. But for all of us, the present moment is the highlight of our lives. Especially if we know it is. It is the sum of our thoughts, actions, and words. Obviously, someone is not sitting here, but in prison. And for him it is. Somebody is not sitting here in a physical body. He's just here in reality, but he doesn't have a physical body now. For them too. But in reality, whether we can physically embrace each other or not, that's very important. But we can never lose anyone, and we can never keep anyone, because we are all part of an infinite existence. And in reality, what happens is that my consciousness expands with infinite existence. And I can see exactly that the physical body is just a tool, a car, a means of transport, with which I have as much experience as I have. And if I have to experience putting my physical body down in an accident, then I have to experience that. And if my partner needs to experience how to let go of me in a way that makes me realize that it was just my physical body, but you never really lost anyone, then you need to experience that. You're about here, about if you work this out in yourself, if you understand it first, you'll work this information in you that this little something story at home. And once it says, ah, big cry, and then it happens to you. And with this big cry, I don't say goodbye. I'll see you. So there is no such thing as death. There is no passing away. There is no separation. Because we are all one in existence. We come and go. We are like a train. Fellow travelers get on, teach you something, then get off. Then it takes off on another trip. Then it lands again. One thing to know is that it pays to be good to yourself because you will always be with yourself. And if you're not right with the you always are, you generate suffering. We are all responsible for whether we suffer here under the heart. This is obviously not part of this presentation, or this little discussion, or we allow ourselves the joy and freedom to take wing, to fly again, because we can fly without wings. But you have to accept that it's just a program, that someone is wrong and someone is guilty. It was meant to be. That's what you had to experience. Then you'll have a high five at some point. But the focus of your life is you. And everything will help you when you have such a difficult task as my mother passed away at my hands. As I just mentioned, I thought it was going to be the hardest job of my life. And it was. But there was happiness in both of us, not the pain. So she had time, had to leave. Learned from it. I learned from it. She learned to leave. I learned to let go. Life's a great game. We take it too seriously, with the belief system that we're going to pass away. We're going to die. We're going to leave the other. We're going to lose the other. These are programs up here, if you look at them in a real moment. There is no loss, no death, no loss. There are only purifications through experience and finding myself. The first agenda item is to understand this. To understand that the moment this act has passed, it is already at that moment an illusion. At that moment, you are the only one holding it up, but it doesn't exist. Your partner exists. This event does not exist. That is why you are suffering yourself, and you are suffering the one who is gone. because he sees you and feels you suffering. If you understand this, and in a calm, quiet moment, it passes through you, or rather comes back to you, then you don't have to let go of anything and forgive, because you will experience that everything is all right. We are coming, we are going. One life, one match. We take it very seriously, lightly, by playing, by experiencing, by loving each other, but not being attached. Because love is not that you are mine, but that you are free. Okay? This way, I don't see your face so much. Okay. Thank you very much.